Okay, so we all think we know the story of Joseph, right? The coat of many colors, the betrayal by his brothers, his incredible rise to power in Egypt. It's that classic, ancient tale of virtue being rewarded. But what if I told you the version we all know is only half the picture?
Because tucked away just beneath the surface of this familiar narrative, there's a totally different story playing out. It's a complex, psychological drama about how our greatest strengths can sometimes hide our most dangerous weaknesses.
To really get what I'm talking about, we have to start with the story we all know, the one that's right there on the surface, straight from the book of Genesis.
So picture this. Joseph has hit absolute rock bottom. He's been stripped of everything, sold his property in a foreign land. His new owner is Potiphar, who's not just anybody, he's the Pharaoh's own prefect. It really seems like a hopeless situation.
But then, almost immediately, something incredible starts to happen. The text says a divine force was with him, and he became, and this is the key phrase, an ish matzliach, which in the original Hebrew means a successful man. And this very idea of success is what's going to drive the entire story.
And when the text says successful, it doesn't just mean kind of successful, it means spectacularly successful. Let's just take a look at how quickly and completely Joseph's life turned around.
His promotion is just meteoric. He goes from being a foreign slave to Potiphar's personal attendant, and then boom, he's put in charge of the entire household. It's like he has the Midas touch. Everything he's a part of, everything he manages, just thrives.
Potiphar's trust in him becomes absolute, 100%. He hands over the keys to the kingdom, his house, his fields, his finances. Joseph essentially becomes the CEO of Potiphar's entire life.
So there you have it. The perfect, inspiring story, right? A good person faces terrible adversity, keeps his integrity, and is justly rewarded for his talent and his virtue. It's simple, it's clean, and it's a great story.
But if we stop right there, we miss the real story. To get to the truth of it, we have to learn how to do a little detective work, how to read between the lines of this ancient text. I mean, is that really all there is to it? Just a straightforward tale of a hero getting his reward? Well, ancient commentators didn't think so. For centuries, they saw these little clues in the text that pointed to something much, much deeper, and frankly, a lot more troubling.
For thousands of years, scholars have been practicing this art of commentary. It's kind of like textual detective work, you know? They look for strange phrases, repeated words, awkward sentences. All these little things are clues to a hidden inner meaning.
And our guide on this particular investigation is one of the greatest textual detectives of all time, Rashi. He was an 11th century scholar with this uncanny ability to spot tiny details in the text that everybody else just read right past, and then show how they unlock a completely different story.
So let's see how Rashi does this. We're going to start with a character who usually seems like a pretty straightforward villain, Potiphar's wife.
Rashi looks at this whole situation and says, hold on a minute. Maybe this wasn't just about lust. He points to an ancient tradition that says she saw something in her astrological charts, that she was destined to have descendants from Joseph. Now, she made a huge mistake. It turned out to be her daughter who would one day marry one of Joseph's sons. But think about it, suddenly she's not just a simple villain. She's a complex, maybe even tragic character.
Now for another clue. The text says, Potiphar trusted Joseph with absolutely everything save the food that he ate. This has always been a really strange, really specific detail. Why on earth would the text bother to mention his food?
Well, what does Rashi make of this? He argues it's not about food at all. He explains that the bread that he ate is an ancient euphemism. The one thing Potiphar kept for himself wasn't his lunch, it was his wife. The text is subtly telling us about the real boundaries of Joseph's authority. And that brings us to the most powerful, most shocking reveal in the entire story. This is the moment where Joseph's success stops being a blessing and actually becomes the source of the problem.
Right after telling us about Joseph's total authority, the verse just adds this little detail. He was well-built and handsome. On the surface, it just seems like a simple physical description. I mean, what could possibly be wrong with that? But Rashi sees this line as the turning point. For him, this isn't a compliment. It's a diagnosis of a fatal flaw. He reads it this way. As soon as Joseph saw himself as this powerful ruler, he started to act like one. He grew vain. He began feasting and drinking and, get this, curling his hair. And God, seeing this, basically says, your father is at home mourning for you, and you're admiring yourself in the mirror? I'm about to let a bear loose on you.
And that bear, of course, is the ordeal with Potiphar's wife.
So here it is, the crucial point. The seduction attempt by Potiphar's wife isn't some random, unjust event that tests a perfect hero. In Rashi's reading, it is a direct consequence of Joseph's own actions. His success bred vanity, and that vanity made him a target. He brought the crisis on himself.
So, when we put all of these pieces together, you can see how this deeper reading completely transforms our understanding of this ancient story.
What we end up with are two completely different stories rolled into one. The surface story is a simple fable about a good man who succeeds. But the hidden story, the one revealed by Rashi, is this sophisticated drama about the psychological dangers of success and the seductive power of pride.
The story is no longer about a perfect, flawless hero. It's a profound and, I think, timeless warning. It shows us how even the most virtuous, talented, and blessed people can be brought down, not by their enemies, but by the flaws that grow out of their own greatest strengths.
And that leaves us with a final thought, doesn't it? We all have stories we tell ourselves about our own successes and our own failures. But what happens if we read them a little more closely? What stories in our own lives have a hidden layer, a story behind the story, that we've just never stopped to look for?